Wait a minute. I don't know anything about you being an internet hoe. What does that mean?
All right. Well, let me teach you, LeeAnn. I got into the adult industry at a very young age.
Yeah.
Probably, I tried when I was 18, farted on somebody and left because I was humiliated and just couldn't do it.
Are you talking about porn?
No. I didn't. Well, I mean, no, I didn't do porn. I was stripper.
Okay.
Yes.
And you farted on somebody? I love you so much because I would have farted all over everybody.
I was so nervous.
He's just
Excuse me, sir.
You are so handsome.
Did you guys want me here or here? I just kind of sat down.
Right there's fine.
Okay, gotcha. Hi, how are you? Oh, I am.
Are you guys
This
okay?
is different because I'm not the one interviewing. So I rarely go on other people's podcasts. So I'm going to have to try to not ask you questions.
Well, that's the thing. Mine's not an interview. It's a conversation.
Yeah, that's what I tell everybody.
So whatever.
Too. Yeah, awesome.
Whatever.
I love it.
We talk about is whatever we talk about.
Very cool. Love it.
I just got that same bag.
Oh, dude.
I'm so excited.
It's a freaking suitcase.
I love it.
You will fill everything and put everything in there, and it just is like so heavy. If you try to lift that, it's like 50 pounds.
Oh my gosh.
Like it's crazy. Yeah.
But you can't put it under the seat in front of you. That's the only bummer because everything fall out of it. I love your
for
nails.
sure.
How do you function with those nails?
I can't function without them.
What do you mean?
I've had them since I was 16. So I literally like my fingertips are unusually sensitive. So like if these aren't on, I can't touch anything because I'm so used to just touching like this.
Yeah.
My fingertips have never really like been used. So it's like, unless I was getting fingerprinted. But other than that, like I just can't function without them.
I can't
I'm
imagine.
so used to the length and everything. I've had these since I was 16 years old. So
That's so crazy.
I know, it's wild.
I can't. This is about as long as I will get. I just I can't do it.
I wish I could do that, but I have like little sausage link fingers. So if I don't have long nails, I have my mom's hands. So either just short and stumpy like fingers, and I don't like it.
Well, they're beautiful. Your
Wow.
nails are awesome.
I appreciate you.
I would probably, I would jump off the roof with those things. I'm too handy. I'm too like,
Yeah.
I'm too,
Oh,
I always joke.
I catch them on stuff all the time.
I
and,
saw
like,
you
bend
just
them.
on a video. I thought you lost one
Yeah,
in a
literally.
drawer.
Oh no, it's still lifting.
Oh,
It's bad.
Yeah, we jokingly in my house say that Bert's the girl.
Hey, come here. Oh,
He's the girl. I'm the guy.
sit down. Come on.
Can you get up there?
Oh, you can.
Oh, you can.
Go. He'll lay down in a second. He's just excited. It's new. He's used to
This is Halston, by the way. I'm so sorry.
How are you?
Yay.
He's going to be in the other room, and then my Charlie's Angels box right there is
Okay.
how he talks to us if he
Oh,
needs
I
to,
love that.
to tell
That
us
is
to
awesome.
adjust a mic or whatever.
I love that so much. This is so cute.
Thank you so much for coming.
Absolutely.
Your husband's one of the nicest, most genuine, giving, lovely people.
And he's like that every day, even when the cameras aren't on.
I believe it.
Like he is just, sorry.
I don't care.
Chachi, lay down, sir, with your fake chains. They're leaving stains on your neck.
Oh, good. Are you going to guard the door?
Yes,
Thank
he
you
will.
so much. We really needed that. It's nice and cool over there, too.
He's exactly like that when the cameras aren't on, and he's just the sweetest. I call him an earth angel
Oh,
because and I know a lot of people are like, oh, my husband's the best. Like, no, my husband is really just so awesome and just he's my little cherub angel.
oh.
Yeah.
Well, he clearly adores you.
He better.
Well, yeah, I know,
Just
right?
kidding.
Well, there's a lot to adore.
He better. I do a lot of shit for that man. No, I'm just
Right?
kidding.
I feel the same way.
I know, right?
I feel like I got really lucky too. I found my soulmate.
I love that.
You
How
know.
long have you guys been together?
Together, almost 23 years. This December is 20 years married.
If you could give advice to young girls who are just starting out in their marriage, what would you say to them?
Already married?
Yeah, already married. Like, what is the secret to marriage? Your secret.
Well, that's a complicated question. How long have you guys been married?
Going on, it'll be 8 years soon.
Okay.
In August.
So about halfway. To me. Something I discovered recently, which I've talked about a lot on my podcast, but I think I wish I had this advice earlier, is a friend of mine told me that she never stopped dating her husband.
Oh,
Which is different than like a date night, like actively dating somebody. If you think about when you were dating and how excited you would get and how'd you get really dressed up. You know, Bert and I would go get dinner, but we'd be in like, sweats. And when I started going, I don't really do that. And when I started doing that again, it completely changed our relationship. And nothing was wrong with our relationship.
Right.
It just made it like
Gave you something to
infinitely
look
better.
forward to.
Yes. And we got really kind of into each other again, even though we were never out. It was just a weird, subtle shift that made a huge difference in our happiness.
I love that.
So
I say the same thing. I always tell everybody, I'm like, you have to remember why you guys fell in love, and you have to always be best friends before anything.
Right.
Get comfortable with uncomfortable conversations.
That's really good advice. Yeah, we always say, if you can order a $10 pizza and play Scrabble all night and be happy, you got the right person.
That's the best date ever.
Best.
I would rather do that than go out.
Where did you grow up?
Vegas. I'm a Vegas girl. I was born in Houston, grew up in Vegas.
So why'd you go from Houston to Vegas?
So my dad was, hey, Bill, love you, Bill. My dad he was like in some sort of like bill collecting firm or something. I don't know. He's one of those people who called you and like really annoyed you, but he ran the whole place or something. So they moved us from Houston to Vegas, and he had his own business there doing that. So I grew up on the east side of Vegas and got in a lot of trouble. And
why'd you get in trouble? What'd you mean?
I was just a very tenacious child. So I always, I was always into something, always just pushing the boundaries. I was a born rebel. I was a rebel without a cause. I don't even know what I was fighting for, but I was fighting. I came out fighting like hell. I think a lot of it had to do with my mom when I was 3 months old. Dropped me off on a doorstep, and my dad was in the hospital. My dad was a musician, and they were partiers, and she was a stripper. And when my dad went to the hospital because he had, I think, like hepatitis, the one from food, hepatitis.
Yep.
She ran off with his organ player, dropped me off on the doorstep.
Oh my God.
And
you were 3 months old?
I was 3 months old. It took my dad 2 weeks to find me. When they did find me, these people had me like locked in a closet or something like that.
Oh my God.
So I think just not knowing who my real mom was, my dad immediately got custody of me. And this was in the 80s when a lot of dads didn't do that, So it was like, here I am getting raised by my dad, who I have my 2 uncles with him. They're not blood uncles, but they were just his best friends raising me. And it was like 3 men and a baby. And they would take me to bars and sit me on pinball tables. And like my dad always said that he knew that I was going to love Vegas because I would watch the pinball table, the lights light up, and I would just for hours would just be like, oh my God, the lights, as a kid. So I think that might have kicked off my rebellious streak as a child of just, like I don't know who my mom is, and, just kind of not knowing how to deal with trauma at such a young age.
Well, sounds like your mom was a rebel of her own kind. Maybe not a super healthy one, but she definitely didn't march to the beat of anybody else's drum, sounds like.
Yeah, for sure. Vanessa was a wild one.
Do you know her?
She passed last year,
but I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Her and I started a relationship. I found her online when I was 22, and my mom was a drug addict, so it was really hard to get close to her. I couldn't ever get her to come meet me in person or anything like that. It was like, if you want to see me, you have to come see me, So finally, when I was around 36 years old, I was like, okay, I got to go meet my mom at least once face to face. And when I did, of course, my expectations were way too high, and I was a letdown. But I still loved her regardless. And I knew that loving her meant that I was going to have to forgive her, and it wasn't for her, it was for me. So that was the journey I went on. And then the last year before she died, I got to inherit custody of her. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah, her doctor called me in April of, I think it was 2022 or 2023, 2023. I don't know. 2022? Yeah, because it's 2023. Okay. Sorry. I never know. I never know where I'm at.
Right. I don't either. It's hard to keep up.
Yeah. They were like, your mom's on a ventilator. If you want to come say goodbye to her, come say your last goodbyes or whatever. And I was like, I'm not gonna let my mom die alone in a hospital. Like, no matter what has gone on in our life, I'm not gonna let her die alone. So I drove, 4 hours from Nashville to Indiana, got there, sat by her side, and the old bird didn't die. She woke up, and I was like, Mom, I love you. But she was living in a house that was dilapidated. It was condemned, didn't have running water. Like, it was just bad. And I was like, you know what, Mom, come to Nashville. I'm going to take care of you. And that was a process in itself too. But, I got to hang out with her a little bit. I got mad at her towards the end, just because it was hard it was like, it gets to a point where it's like, you're like, damn, I'm like doing everything that you should have done for me. And, you're so unappreciative. So I had to kind of draw a hard boundary with her. And then November 3rd, they called me and told me that she had passed, even though they said she was getting better. So it was a crazy, wild ride, but I'm glad it happened that way.
So you had her from like April to November?
April to November, yeah.
Well, I think you can probably sleep easy knowing you did your very best.
I'm just trying to make sure I get a mansion in heaven. So I'm doing it with my dad now. I'm doing it with my dad now.
You are?
Yeah, my dad's in Nashville now. My dad has stage 4 cancer.
Oh.
I ended up leaving home at 14. I ran away from home at 14. I had a very abusive stepmom, and my dad just didn't protect me at all. And I grew up around a lot of people that I didn't want to be like. At such a young age, I knew that it was wrong and it was toxic. And I just knew that I had a bigger purpose in life. I know that sounds crazy, but at 14, I was just like, I got this. I'm never going back. And I never did. And
where did you go?
I lived on the streets for a little bit. And then I always had the most amazing friends who had amazing families who would let me sleep on their couch for like a couple weeks at a time. And then I ended up getting my own place by the time I was 17. So, it was like 3 years. I was just kind of like on the streets, or like I would have boyfriends and stay at their houses until I would get kicked out. And, it was an interesting way to grow up, but I wouldn't change it for the world because it made me the woman I am today. But yeah, so my dad and I had a super rocky relationship, and he's always chose women over me. And, I love Bill, but he was just, a musician, and he didn't heal any of the trauma that he had as a child. So I understand that. And then September of this year, me and my dad were not on speaking terms. We'll go like a year talking, a year not talking, a year talking, This was one of the we weren't talking stages, and found out that he had stage 4 cancer. As soon as I found out he had hidden it from me for the past year, I just flew directly out to him, went and got him. It was just like, come on. I'm gonna bring you to Nashville and help you heal. And they gave him 3 months to live September, and he's kicking ass.
That's great.
I know. So I'm excited.
Wow.
Yeah.
So now I kind of understand why Jelly Roll kept saying, you've got to talk to my wife. We have a lot of similarities.
Really?
Yes.
Do tell.
I don't want to retell too much for my audience, but for you, I don't have a great relationship with my mom. I still don't have a relationship with my mom. My mom had custody of me, but I lived all summer with my dad, who had 2 male roommates. So I was sort of kind of raised by 3 guys. And I think being raised by 3 guys, because never felt safe at my mom's house.
Right.
So I hid myself a lot. I stayed really quiet. I stayed out of her way. She was really unhealthy. At a very young age, I realized that her behaviors were not right. And I was not going to do that.
Wow.
So I just like sunk inside myself. 7th and 8th grade, she moved me to another school, and I started pretty much living with our neighbors. And when our neighbors moved, our neighbors tried to legally adopt me because of the environment I was in with my mom. But my dad's environment was really awesome, except, he's like a bachelor with 2 other bachelors. And it was just like, bachelor town every time I go there. I think that's one of the reasons I do so well with Bert, is because my safest place was like, bruh.
I was just about to say that. I was about to say, and isn't it crazy that you married Bert? Because he's like the ultimate bachelor, quote unquote bachelor, but acts like it.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's a frat boy.
Yes.
He's like a 9-year-old frat boy.
Oh, yeah.
That's entirely where I felt safe. My whole childhood was with these bruh. I mean, they were constantly having a party. Constantly having parties.
I love that. That's how my dad was too.
Yeah, I don't know. I see some similarities. I actually had an argument with my mom when I was in my early 20s, and she kicked me out, and I was homeless for about 10 days. Not the same as you.
Right.
Not the same age, not a 1-to-1.
Still hurtful though.
But it's so hurtful, and I understand what it feels like to be home insecure for a minute. 10 days is nothing compared to what you're talking about. But for 10 days, it was really scary.
Yeah.
And I was living in New York City, and
my goodness,
walking around from lobby to lobby with like doorman lobby. And I was like, my friend lives here. I'm just going to hang out on the couch. And then I'd just kind of like on the couch. So, and then, I just said, this is this isn't who I want to be.
Mhm.
I don't want to be any of the things that my mom showed me. So I got into therapy, and I had a terrible drinking problem until I was
When did you get into therapy?
younger, when I was 23.
That is amazing that you had even that wisdom at that age. I was partying and doing drugs. I didn't start getting into therapy until later on in life, but that's amazing that you were so young and you were just like, you know what? I need to go to therapy. This is not what I want to do with my life.
Well, I'd been drinking so much. I started drinking when I was 13, and I drank so hard that I had lost my hair. I had lost a lot of hair. And when my mom, I was in a relationship with my mom at the time, took me to the doctor, he said, this is alcoholism. And I was like, I don't even drink. I don't know what he's talking about. I was a massive liar. I was a terrible liar. Well, not terrible. All I did was lie.
Right.
Never told the truth when I was young. My liver was enlarged. There was she's in really bad health, actually. I was only 20. So I think I turned 21, and shortly after that, I woke up and I was in my bed and didn't remember getting in the bed. I'd already had a DUI. I'd already been arrested. I got arrested for vandalism because I was vandalizing people's houses. I had anger issues. Don't I look like it in my nice little crocheted sweater? I am 53. So, but yeah, I was just a rager. I was drag racing for money. I was like,
Yeah, but you're a product of your environment. You know?
I was mad.
Yeah.
I was really mad.
I was angry as fuck too. Rebel without a cause for no reason.
I was like, fuck all you people.
Yeah.
I'm going to tear it up all day.
Too. I was the same way.
Yeah.
Like a bull in a china shop. Don't let me loose.
Totally. And then when I woke up after I've already had the DUI, I was like, I don't know how I got home. Where is my car? I was living in Atlanta at the time, found my car in a parking lot, keys in the ignition, door open, purse in the parking lot. Like I completely blacked out driving home, and I went, okay, I think I got a problem.
Aww.
So I just was like, I'm just going to stop drinking entirely. So I just stopped drinking entirely, and I still wasn't happy. So I was like, something's still wrong. And that's when I got into therapy.
That's amazing. When I decided to get sober off of alcohol and drugs because I developed an insanely bad pill problem, Xanax and Lortabs. I call them hors d'oeuvres.
Hors d'oeuvres?
I used to be like, I'd love a hors d'oeuvre. And binge drinking was so bad, like every night. But it was like I couldn't have one drink. I would literally drink until I passed out.
Same.
But I was a fun drunk. I tell everybody. I'm like, drunk Bunnie was a good time, okay? And then I developed a really bad cocaine habit, and I just immediately stopped one day. Like I looked at Jay after we had got together, and Jay and I got together 2016. It was 2017. I just looked at him one day and I was like, I don't want this in my system anymore. I don't want this in my blood anymore. And I was like, I'm not going to take it anymore. He's like, yeah, okay, honey, because I suffer from severe anxiety. So he was like, there's no way you're never going to be able to take Xanax, right? Completely stopped. Just
amazing.
Cold turkey. But isn't it crazy that we have that mind frame to be able to just shut off? Like, okay, we know this isn't good for us anymore. It doesn't serve us a purpose anymore. And we're done. Like that's super strong of you to be able to do that, especially at such a young age.
Well, same to you. It takes a monumental amount of effort. Why do you think you had the wisdom to come? What made you come to that? What was it? Wife of the Party is sponsored by AquaTrue. How much water do you drink a day? Because I drink almost a gallon. I drink a lot of water, and I like not drinking a gallon's worth of plastic water bottles. So I have an insulated water bottle that I fill up from my AquaTrue water filtration system. This is the easiest system to install. It can live on your countertop. It's super easy to make a part of your everyday life. AquaTrue has water filters that fit every type of home, from installation-free countertop purifiers to higher capacity under-sink options. They even have a Wi-Fi connected purifier and mineral boost options. It's the same technology used by all the major bottled water brands, but now it's available for your home and without the plastic waste. The filters are affordable and long-lasting. No changing filters every 2 or 3 months. AquaTrue filters last from 6 months to 2 years. Just one set of filters from their classic purifier makes the equivalent of 4,500 bottles of water. That's less than 3 cents a bottle. Plus, you'll save the environment from tons of plastic waste. In addition to drinking water, you can use it for your coffee, tea, and all your cooking needs, from boiling pasta or veggies to making stocks and soups. AquaTrue comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee, and it even makes a great gift. Today, my listeners receive 20% off any AquaTrue purifier. Just go to aquatrue.com, that's AQUATRU.com, and enter the code WIFE at checkout. That's 20% off any AquaTrue water purifier when you go to aquatrue.com and use the code WIFE. Wife of the Party is sponsored by BetterHelp. If you listen to my podcast at all, you know I'm a huge fan of therapy. I've been in therapy for a long time, and at different times in my life, therapy has been different things. Sometimes it's been about dealing with childhood trauma. Sometimes it's been about managing being a mom. Sometimes it's been about managing being a wife. Sometimes it's just been someone to unload my aggravations for the day on. Sometimes I just gossip with her because she's known my whole life. So all of these things I've found to be very valuable tools for me to be a happy, more balanced person in life. I'm a huge advocate of therapy, and BetterHelp makes finding therapy, accessing therapy, and getting the help you need so much easier. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online. It's designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. You just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime at no additional charge. Celebrate the progress you've already made. Visit BetterHelp.com/wife today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/wife. Like, what was it in you that knew that what you were witnessing was not what you wanted? That's a different wisdom too. And you were really young. You were 14.
Absolutely. I think I've always had the fear of ending up like my mom. And, to wake up every day and have to take a Loratab. And even though I was a drug addict, I was very controlled with it. So I would take a half a Loratab and a quarter of Xanax and I was functioning. So to me, I wasn't an addict. But as I guess it was when I started getting on my spiritual journey, and after Jay and I met, I just wanted to do better. Even though him and I were partying and we were in this crazy space, I don't know if it was him or if it was just the entire situation of finally feeling safe, because I had just got out of an extremely abusive relationship too. And I was just battling so many demons at that point. And I was just like, I don't like the way I feel. So anytime I wake up and I'm like, I don't like the way I feel, I automatically change my life. And I've been like that since I was a kid. I woke up one day when I was 14, I don't like my life, left my house and never went back, you know? And I think it's just a pattern I have. But I think just being with Jay, I just wanted to be a better example for his daughter, because we ended up getting full custody of Bailey in January of 2017. And I'm like, how are we going to have full custody of this baby girl because her mom is a drug addict and I'm over here waking up in the morning popping pills? I'm not going to do this with her. And Bailey has been such a pivotal healing, just helped me on this journey, because her and I literally live parallel lives. What she deals with her mom is what I've had to go through. So watching her heartbreak for the past 8 years with the relationship with her biological mom has been healing, and also just so frustrating, because it's I just want to help her and just be I want to save her, and I can't, and I have to let her go through it herself. But at the same time, I'm so overly protective of her. So definitely Bailey was the monumental point of us both wanting to change our lives.
Right. Kids are worth it, man, aren't they?
Oh, yeah.
Kids are amazing. I know my mom cycled through me being dead to her. So it'd just go a year or so without talking to me. And the last time she said that to me is when I told her I was pregnant with Georgia. And she sent me this email, "Oh, you're dead to me. I don't want to know you. Don't want to know your kid. Don't want to know your husband." And I went, "Guess what? You're not going to get to now. I'm done now. I keep trying to make this work, but you will not do this to my kid.
No.
You will not.
Yeah.
So goodbye. You said I'm dead to you. I'm actually going to make that true, because I can't have you doing that to Georgia."
And has she ever got to meet Georgia?
Yes. I still remained close to her parents, who just recently, her mom just passed away 2 years ago. So I would always make sure both our girls knew their great-grandparents, because that's your family. I didn't want them to not know my mom's family. My mom is the person I have problems with. So I always took them to my mom's family to make sure. And my mom busted in on one visit. Like my daughters are 8, maybe 8 or 9 and 6 or 7, and walked in like, hey, I'm your nanny. And they're like, we don't know you.
Yeah. And then they expect them to like want a relationship with them and then get offended when they don't.
Yes, she totally did.
Yeah.
So I saw then, and then when her dad died about 5 years ago, and then that's it. But that's, I'm at peace with it. I totally forgive her. I believe has some mental health issues that she's unwilling to look at and deal with. So I'm unwilling to, suffer through her mental issues.
Absolutely.
If she's not willing to address them.
It's not your job as her child to make her go on her healing process. She's going to have to do that on her own. And I feel like our parents' generation, because I'm 43, I feel like our parents' generation, for some reason, they don't want to fucking heal. They don't want to talk about their trauma. They don't want to get help for anything. They would rather drink their alcohol, pop their pills, and cut people off, or just, be a perpetual victim. And it's just wild to me because the generation after them, us, their babies are over here just trying to do everything we can to just heal from all the shit they did to us.
You know why, I think? We're the first generation of divorced parents. So our parents still came from intact homes, even if the homes were shitty. They were still intact, and mom did what moms do, and dads went to work, and they had this kind of like this model where they didn't have to take care of themselves.
Right.
But it's, in some capacity, they were taken care of. They may have been, abused or hit or whatever. I mean, I was spanked growing up too, but when that core family breaks, you have to take care. You all of a sudden go, oh, what did I do wrong?
Right.
This is definitely my fault. I mean, my parents divorced when I was 7, and I was completely sure it was my fault. And then as a kid, you go, well, I need to fix it. Well, what do I need to do? And my dad's in pieces, so I got to take care of him. And my mom's a lunatic, so I knew you would come in here. Wait, what is that? Oh, I know what you're doing.
You told me here, make sure the dogs don't get out.
I know what you're doing. Oh, yes, I do.
Here, make some room.
Thanks, baby doll. Hold on.
I'm good. How are you?
I'll just leave that there.
No, you
No,
have to give me a kiss now.
I love that. You guys remind me of Jay and I so much.
Love you. Thank you, baby doll.
I can't wait to do something burning.
Is this in the way of the camera?
Here, I'll put it on this.
Just pull the whole
Is it
table.
you guys' anniversary? What's
No. I wanted to have sex this morning.
Oh,
I'll explain it to you.
okay.
I'm earning it.
So this morning,
listen.
thank you, baby
Teach
doll.
my husband this. That's
Isn't
Chachi.
he's so amazing? This is the dog I wanted, and you made me get bull mastiffs.
Look at that. Look at his butthole.
It's huge. He's got the biggest pooper I've ever seen.
Do you
Do you know how many people go to pet his ass and literally rub his asshole on accident? It's crazy.
Enjoy the flowers, man.
Thanks, baby doll. You are so
I'm drunk. It may take a while.
awesome. Okay. So this morning, I am so busy today. I'm like just a lunatic busy.
Yeah.
And he's like in bed going like, hey, how about a little wah, wah, wah? And I'm like, dude, I do not have time.
Yeah.
And he kept on and kept on. And I went, you know what? Today you need to earn it.
I love
Today you need to earn
that.
it. So he cooked me breakfast. He's been like complimenting me all day.
Aww.
He's giving me little smooches.
Oh.
And he sent me flowers.
I love that. I'm so doing that today because every time, and I tell you this too, Mimi, every time I am so busy, I could be running out the door, just got out of the shower, just did my hair and makeup to go to set, and Jay will try to have sex with me. Won't try to bang me for the entire month because we've been so busy, but that one time that he knows I'm so busy, he wants to bang me, and literally I'll get so mad at him. I'm like, I'm not banging you right now, dude. Like,
Hello?
I just got ready. Like, what are you 29 other days in the month and you want to pick today to try to bang me? Not saying we only have sex once a month so the internet doesn't fucking freak out, but I'm just saying, like, it just seems like that one time that I'm getting ready, literally.
Yeah.
No, I love that. You got to earn it.
Gotta
Daddy,
earn it.
you gotta earn it.
I was like, baby, you gotta earn it today. Because I give it up pretty easy.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm a pretty
yeah.
easy date.
Listen, I'm an
pretty
easy
slick
lay
like
myself.
that.
I get it.
But this time I was like, I just ain't got time, honey. I ain't got time. I ain't got time for you.
Girl, make him work for it. I love it.
I love it too. And he's done this always. This is my favorite rose, and this is his favorite flower.
Oh, is that a stargazer lily?
It's just a white lily.
I love stargazer
Or maybe
lilies.
it's a stargazer, maybe.
No, I think the stargazers have the freckles.
Or the pink or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, Casablanca. That's the Casablanca lily.
I love
and
it.
I like peach roses. And he has this one florist and she just keeps them.
We're going to talk about this on the cooking show. Make them earn it.
You should.
Yes, because you guys need to teach Jay and I that because I'm going to make them earn it.
He's pretty great. Bert's pretty
I
great.
know. So is Jay. He's amazing.
I think Bert looks for excuses to do stuff like this, which is really sweet.
I love it.
So what was different about Jay? I call him Jelly Roll. What was different about him than guys you dated before? What was the difference? Because Bert's very different than anybody I dated before.
Oh, I've never dated anybody like Jay before. Okay, that's a lie. I've dated nothing but felons, so Jay falls in that category.
Nothing but felons.
Drug dealers, felons, and tattooed guys love. But I've always dated tattooed musicians, but just I like, I don't really have a type now that I think of. Do I have a type? What is it? Okay, I love guy-liners. I love emo goth boys.
Okay.
I love like the dark black hair, the eyeliner, tattoos, stuff like that. Like that's my shit. And when I met Jay, I'm not Jay's type either. I'm very vocal about this all the time on my podcast. Also, I'm not Jay's type and he's not my type. But for some reason, LeeAnn, when we met in 2015, it was literally like my soul was like, there you are.
No.
It was the weirdest thing. And it sounds so cliche, but I was just like, why am I attracted to this man? Like there's nothing that I would ever normally be attracted to. And he felt the same way, but I didn't know it. We both didn't know that we were feeling the same way about each other. And then, we started talking as friends and I was in that really abusive relationship and that dude ended up going to prison. And when he did, Jay started poking his head around and I was like, hey, to a mutual friend, give Jay my number. And they did. And, we just started off being friends. He would call me for advice about Bailey. And like, I always have a soft spot for, single dads because of my dad. And I just thought it was really sweet because he's like, I think I'm going to have to get custody of my daughter. And I just told him straight up, like no matter what happens with us, like I will help you get that little girl because I knew the situation that she was living in. Right. And every little girl and boy deserve a chance. If they have somebody who's willing to give them a life that they can't have in their home that they were, born into, I'm all for it, So Jay's he puts the riz in charisma. I always tell him that.
That he does. He's very charismatic.
He's so charismatic and he is just, I don't know, he's the most beautiful man I've ever seen and I love him and I couldn't imagine life without him, dude. It's
great.
Wild. We got together in July of 2016, got married in August of 2016.
Wow.
30-day romance. And let me tell you, when you take two wild hyenas and put them in a cage, they're going to fight.
Right?
And let me tell you, the first 3 years, Jay and I had to figure it out. He had never had to be in he had relationships before me, but he was never good by those people. And, they were very toxic. And I was just coming out of a severely abusive relationship and, toxic relationships upon toxic relationships. So we kind of had to learn how to heal together. And it was a wild ride the first 3 years, but now it's kind of like smoothed out and, we're just kind of coasting now. So
that's great.
Yeah.
What was the most important thing you learned in the first 3 years?
Should I talk about it? Yeah. So Jay had an affair. For a year behind my back. And I know
a year?
For a year.
That's a long time.
Yeah. And I don't ever want anybody to think any less of him because he doesn't deserve that. Jay and I got married, and I'm not excusing his behavior, but at the same time, I understand. It's like you take a wild animal and you try to put him in a cage and like teach him how to be domesticated, he's going to buck a couple times, and same with me. I've never had to be in a consistent monogamous relationship either. I've always been very, open with my sexuality and Jay has also. So when we got into the relationship, even though we agreed, like, hey, if you ever want to bring a third party in, you can let me know. For some reason, I think it just scared the shit out of him that he woke up one day and was married, and so it happened immediately right after we got married. So we got married in 2016. The affair was started it was with an ex in 2017. And then I think I found out about it 2018, right? Early on in 2018. And we learned from that. That was the pivotal moment of where we were like, okay, this is make or break. Like, I left and I went back to Vegas, packed up all my shit, because for like a year and a half, he had gaslit me, and I knew something was going on, but I didn't want to believe it. And I couldn't put my finger on it. And I was just so in love with him that I was just like, I just didn't want to think that he would do anything, but all the signs were there. When your man's cheating. I don't know if you and Bert have ever been through anything like that.
No, we haven't, but I've been cheated on before.
It's the worst feeling in the world.
Worst, yeah.
And when I finally did find out, I went back to Vegas. I didn't think I'd ever hear from him again. And the day that I got back to Vegas, he was like, I will tell you everything. I'm sorry. I just want my wife and my family back.
Aww.
And I was like, normally I would have been like, fuck you and never talk to you again. But with Jay, I was just like, okay, everybody deserves a second chance, know? And from that day on, Jay has completely changed who he is. I've completely changed. We went to therapy together. And honestly, that's where I learned that you have to be comfortable with having uncomfortable conversations. Communication is key, but comprehension is vital. Like you guys can talk all day long to each other, but if you're not understanding each other, you're never going to get anywhere. And, we don't go to bed angry anymore. We barely even fight anymore, but it was hurtful what we had to go through, but it happened for a reason. And I'm so thankful that it did, because it just made us the best of friends. And like I said, I couldn't imagine life without that dude. So
that's awesome. It's like you had to walk through fire a little bit.
Literally. I always say we had to burn the house down to rebuild.
That sounds like it. And hey, who cares?
Yeah, absolutely.
What happens is, what matters is where you are today.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. No, I'm so proud of him. And dude, everything we've ever said we wanted to do when we first got together, because Jay wouldn't have sex with me the first night that I met him.
No?
No, not that I met him, but the first night that we got to actually like be alone, and like he came to my apartment. I had this like high-rise penthouse, and he came to stay with me for a couple days. He was supposed to only shoot content. And I thought he was just coming as friends, but I found out later that it was, whatever. Oh God, what was my point? What were we talking about? Oh yeah, how he wouldn't sleep with us. Sorry, I blocked this out. Because
it's ridiculous.
Because I was like, what the fuck is wrong with me?
Right.
He made me make a 5-year plan with him when we were laying in bed. And I was like, it's 6 o'clock in the morning. We have drank an entire bottle of vodka. We just got in from fucking some honky tonk that was at the MGM. Losers. Shout out losers. And you want me to make a 5-year plan? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay. So I lay next to him and I'm like, well, I want my own radio show or a podcast. And like I want to buy my first house. I want this, I want that. And he's told me his plan. And literally everything we planned the first night that we got together, LeeAnn, we completed within the 5th year. And then now we're just kind of like, he wants to make another plan, but we just haven't had time. We've been so busy. But like, it was like, we really manifested everything that we ever wanted together.
That's awesome.
No, it's really beautiful.
So can I tell you, Bert and I have something called the Summit.
Okay.
So we have a summit once every year or so where we plan a day where we sit down and do exactly what you just said.
Oh my God, I got goosebumps.
We've done that our whole marriage. We have very similar relationships, it sounds like.
Can you and Bert be our, what is it that we need? Like, what is it called? Not protege, but what would you be? Like,
I don't know.
Our coaches, or like our mentors.
I think.
Can you and Bert be our mentors? Well, our marriage mentors?
I think we may be each other's because
let's do it.
You sound very similar.
I love that. The summit, and do it every year.
The summit, we call it, because everything for Bert has to be dramatic. We can't just be like, so what's your 5-year plan? He's doesn't care about that.
Right.
I'm like, get the flag and stake it. What's the summit? Let's get this shit rolling. But we've done that forever. And we do it. That. We always say, this is a safe place. There's no feelings here.
Yeah.
It's just about like curiosity.
Yeah.
What do you want? What do I want? How do we do that? Can we afford that? How much money does that take? How does that affect our kids? What do our kids think about that? It's all about curiosity around your goals.
I love that.
It's been a really great part of our marriage.
I love
The
that.
summit.
So maybe we need to focus on a yearly thing because we just haven't had enough time to even sit down and try to plan another 5 years.
Yeah.
It's been insane. But I think if maybe we could sit down because every year what I have my family do is I'm into vision boards and manifesting a lot. So every year they hated this whenever I first started this like 5 years ago. I came to them with all these magazines and poster boards and I was like, we're going to make vision boards. And they were like, why? And then now I think they actually get excited about it because they get to see like how much they've accomplished in that year. So what we do is we sit down, we cut out everything we want, we paste it on the board, and then on the back, we put down everything that we want for that year. And then in December of whatever year we do it, we read it out to each other after that year has passed. And, we sit down and we make new vision boards. So
that's so cool.
Yeah, I love it. It's so fun.
Vision boards are so powerful because it's like a clear roadmap.
Absolutely.
Yep. They're the best. I vision boarded Bert. So I vision boarded a guy that I wanted and Bert showed up.
Oh.
So I don't remember the stuff on the vision board being what Bert actually is.
Yeah.
But I remember putting things in there like laughing and, you cut words out of the magazine.
Yes, yep, I do that too.
I labeled it and I talked about the values I wanted in my relationship really because when you get to a certain age, I met Bert when I was 32. So I had dated a bunch of guys.
Yeah.
And I kind of
You knew what you wanted.
I did. I figured out what was working for me. So I got real clear about it. And then I feng shuied my apartment.
I love that.
My neighbor was Korean and she was like, I don't understand why you're single. And I was like, I don't either. She said, well, let me look at your bedroom. I think your feng shui in your bedroom's off. So she went in there and she was like, this is terrible feng shui. So these are the things you need to do. And then a guy will show up. And he showed up like 6 weeks later.
Where'd you guys meet at?
We met here in LA. We met bowling.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Mutual friends all just got a bunch of friends together to go bowling. And I asked him out. I gave him my number.
I love that.
Yeah, and he didn't call me. He was scared of me. So
why was he scared of you?
I've been told I can be a little intense and intimidating.
When's your birthday?
So August 20th.
So you're a Leo Virgo. You're right on the cusp.
I'm a Leo, Aries moon, Aries rising, Leo Mars.
I love that.
So I got a lot of fire.
I love it.
And while playing bowling, I could be a little intense. Playing bowling while bowling, I was a little intense, I think. So
I love that. That's how I was at bingo the other night. Was cussing everybody out.
I fucking love bingo.
Me too.
Where were you playing bingo?
South Point in Vegas. They have the little. Everybody gets mad, but they're the little computerized things. I'm sorry, I have ADD and I can't keep up with the daubers and stuff. No. But they gave us the machines, and I'm telling you, she called bingo when she didn't have it. If the old people. Let me tell you something. They will slit your throat if you fucking say you have bingo and you don't have it, dude.
I love bingo.
No, me too.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was awesome.
So,
so he didn't call you.
So he didn't call me, and I actually knew his roommate, and so I called his roommate like 4 or 5 days later and was like, "Why didn't Bert call me?" And he goes, "Well, I don't know. Ask him yourself." Handed his phone to Bert. And I was like, what the heck, man? Why didn't you call me? And he just kind of stuttered for a little bit. And I went, hey, I'll give you a hint. If you ask me out, I'll say yes.
Aww.
So just ask me out. And he asked me out. And I was like, great. We decided a date and time. Apparently, he hung up the phone and looked to his roommate and went, she just wants me for my body. And that was not it. And when he showed up for the date, I was dressed for a date. I was like in a dress and heels. He literally pulled up out front and like honked his horn.
With his shirt off.
Such a fucking jerk. But I come out, but I get him because I grew up with 3 dads, right? So I go out and get in his truck and he realizes it's a date, has a panic attack, can no longer tolerate his shoes, eats nothing at dinner. The dinner's over and he goes, okay. Want to go somewhere else for dessert? Okay, eats nothing. Okay, want to go for an after dinner drink? Yes. Starts getting drunk. The bar closes at 2 a.m. You want to go to Ralph's and get a 6-pack of beer? And I'm like, dude, this is, I mean, okay. So get a 6-pack of beer, drink the beer, and he's just wants the night to keep going. And I'm like, you got to leave. I mean, this is the longest date ever. Kicked him out, and
she said this is the longest date ever.
It was the longest date ever. It went on forever. And 9 o'clock the next day, he called me. What are you doing tonight? Going to yoga. Can I come? Okay. I'll cook you dinner afterwards. Okay. Went to yoga with me, cooked me dinner afterwards. 9 a.m. the next day. What are you doing tonight? we'll go for a hike. Can I come? And I'll cook you dinner afterwards.
Oh.
He did that for weeks and weeks and weeks. And I was actually seeing somebody else at the time, just barely.
Right.
Like 2 weeks, maybe 3.
LeeAnn the player.
Oh, barely. Do I look like a player? No. But after about 2 weeks of Bert, I was like, oh, hold on. I think this is what I've been looking for. I've been looking for the wrong thing. I've been looking for like super stable, really predictable. Now I'm bored and I'm bouncing.
Right.
That's what I was doing over and over again. Really good looking, quieter, really handsome.
Stuffy.
Maybe not stuffy, but not Bert.
Right.
You know, I just didn't.
Did Bert remind you of your dad?
Bert definitely has shades of my dad. My dad is,
Shades, I love that.
As he's gotten older, my dad's gotten a lot kind of more subdued. But it was a party house. My dad was always up to some kind of shenanigan all the time. They were like building a raft from scraps around the yard to float down the river. You know, just like the most ridiculous things. And that's definitely the way Bert is. But my dad's a lot more kind of shy in public. He's very gregarious in his group. But once you get him in like a broader, more public form, he's really quiet and really shy. But they both have anxiety problems. So that's the same. But my dad's so solid and such a genuine person. You know, he's a lovely human being, my dad. He's really wonderful. He's the reason that I am successful as a human is my dad. I mean, it's me, obviously, but it's the stuff that I just relied on from my dad that as I got older, kind of relied on.
Yeah.
You know, he's just a great man.
I love that.
And he and Bert love each other. They're a really good relationship.
I love that.
It's pretty cool.
That's amazing. I didn't know you guys' story, so
Yeah,
it's
that's
awesome
how
to
we
hear.
met, bowling.
I love it.
I bullied him into dating me. And now I just bully him all the time into like sending me flowers. Clearly,
You got to earn it.
you got to earn it, baby. You got to earn it.
But you know what? A man like that needs a woman like you because they need to be kept on their toes and they need some sort of grounding, you know, because my husband's like a hot air balloon. If you don't hold the string, he's going to go everywhere, dude. Like sometimes we were just talking about that on the way here. They were like, why did Jay stay so far away from the shoot? And I was like, because my husband doesn't know what the fuck he's doing ever. I'm like, he is difficult for no reason. And I step out of the chaos. I do my own thing. I'm like, because I'm like you, I'm very grounded, very timely, very just, you know, have to have a schedule, have to have a schedule. And my husband is the complete opposite. Just fly by the seat of his pants, show up with, you know, just his hair fucking blowing in the wind and smelling like weed. I'm always wiping crumbs off of him. I'm like, come on, get it together, baby.
Are you married to Bert also?
No. A version, probably, yes.
Same exact thing. I'm the same thing. I'm like, dude, how do you get from A to B? He used to, before he met me, he's so afraid of stuff that regular people are just, it's just life you have to deal with. So he's really afraid of like.
My husband too. You cannot have a conversation about anything unless it's on a time. Like he has to have a certain time to talk about things.
He does?
Oh yeah, no, it's crazy.
Like, what do you mean?
I mean, like sorry, and I didn't mean to cut you off. I was just agreeing with what you were saying.
No,
sorry, the ADD. If say like there's something going on with the kid and I'm like, hey, you know, this is happening with Bailey right now, blah, blah, blah. And he'll be like, I can't talk about it right now. Can we talk? I need to think about it. Can we talk about it in like a day or two? And I'm like, no, this shit's in real time. We got to talk. We got to deal with this, baby. And he'll just be like, or like we'll be laying in bed and I haven't seen him all day, right? Because we've been so busy and I'll just be on my phone. He was talking about this at dinner the other night. I'll just be on my phone and I'll just like be like, hey, the kid, you know, fucking smoked her first joint, you know? And I just have to like casually put it in there because if it's too overwhelming for him, he doesn't want to talk about it.
You are married to Bert.
Okay.
I swear to God, it's the same.
No wonder they get along so good.
They're the same human being.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'm not even joking. Today, I called Bert and said, hey, because I can't just tell him something.
Right.
I have to say, I need to tell you something. I need to talk to you about something.
Right.
Because if I just do what you just did casually, that'll work sometimes, but sometimes it blows up in my face.
Right.
So I need to talk to you. Call me when you're in the space that you can hear me, but it needs to be today, non-negotiable today.
I love the way you talk. I'm totally taking like.
I'm so direct. Apparently, I'm just really direct. Bert said I'm dead inside. I'm just so direct. I'm dead inside.
No,
but I am
not
direct
at all.
because I'm just like, this is what I need.
Yeah.
Right?
Why beat around the bush?
This is what I need.
Yeah.
I have nothing hidden.
Yeah. I love that.
So he calls me back and I go, okay, I have a question about this, whatever it was I was asking him. He's like, oh, I can't talk about this right now. And I'm like, dude, I
It's my
gave you the
husband.
space to call me when you could talk about something. And so I should get free reign in that space.
Yes.
And he's like, I can't deal with this at all today at all. And
That
I'm
is
like,
my husband, 100%. There's so much
frustrating.
I don't even tell him anymore. I just kind of handle it on my own because I'm just like, I only bring him in when I have to.
Well, I did that for a long time and it backfired on me big time. Big time. Wife of the Party is sponsored by DraftKings Sportsbook. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL playoffs, is bringing you an offer that'll help make the playoffs electrifying. New customers can bet $5 on any game and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code WIFE. New customers can bet just $5 to get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook with code WIFE. The crown is yours.
I only bring him in when I have to.
Well, I did that for a long time and it backfired on me big time. Big time.
How so?
Something was going on with Georgia
Oh.
and she was fine. It's just rebellious teenager bullshit. But she had an incident that was really kind of a big deal. And she's fine. Everything was fine. But I was like, this is going to cause such a shitstorm in my life to tell him that I can't deal with telling him right now.
Right.
I need to deal with telling him when I can deal with him.
Right.
Right? Because
Yeah.
it's not as simple as,
No, I get it.
certain points you're not getting a partner, you're getting another child.
Absolutely. 100%. Yes.
And so then you go, in order for me to take care of myself and to be here for everybody else, I just need to just not have you involved in this at the moment.
Absolutely.
And then when he found out I'd done that, it made him feel like we weren't partners. It made him feel like I don't trust him, that I don't think that he's capable as a parent, that it just caused a very different shitstorm than the one I was expecting.
Right.
If I had told him in the moment.
Yeah.
So,
But your intentions were so pure.
Yes.
And it still came across as like
yes.
hurtful to him.
The impact was the problem. The intention was great. The impact was the problem. So, but since then it was good because he'd said, I think we just need a code word so that I can know that this is actually something I really got to hear.
Right. Even though I don't want to.
Right. I mean, what I was talking about today is not as serious as what happened with our daughter.
Right.
But, the general, not really serious, but somewhat urgent things, like I need an answer for something for business because someone else is asking me for a deadline is the stuff that spirals him out. But so we're like, okay, well,
Same with Jay. He hates being on deadlines. Cannot, don't ever give him a deadline. It's like giving him an ultimatum. He will lose his shit, dude.
Same.
Yeah.
Same. So then is it because for Bert, he feels like no one can tell him how to live his life? Is it like that?
That and Jay hates making decisions.
Same.
He will be like teeter-tottering on
Same.
it could be the simplest thing.
Same.
When we just bought a house and literally he was just like, I don't know. And I was like, you know what? Fine. If you don't want to move, this is what we need to do to this house. And I gave him a list to make it livable. And he was just fine. Like, okay, I had to do that so that he was just like, okay, we'll get the new house because it was just more cost effective to buy a new home than to fix everything that we needed in our old home. It's just, they're just not good at decision making, I think. And yeah,
it causes anxiety.
absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
And they become like paralyzed.
It's freeze. They freeze. We're fight or flight.
I'm fight.
I'm fight too.
All day.
I'm ready to fight all the time too. Jay always says that. He says, I have more testosterone than a UFC fighter. He always says that. No, but that's just how we were raised and we're just natural born fighters. And I run too. So if I'll fight and then I'll leave. So that's me. And then Jay is just freeze. You just can't get him out of it. And you got to really massage that situation to get a response out of him. So
Right.
yeah. Speaking of teenagers, you need to tell me how I'm going to survive these teenage years. We have a 15-year-old and it's been a wild ride this year for us. Started at 13. 15 got a little worse, and I'm just like, holy shit, am I going to survive this?
Is it like attitude or behavior or?
You know, a lot of it stems from the trauma from her mom. But she's the best kid in the world. But it's like, I don't want to cause more trauma for her, and neither does her dad. So it's like, you know, we're just in this position where it's like, we want to be stern with her, but at the same time, it's like, we want to be not the cool parents and not the friends, but we want to like have an open communication with her, you know? She doesn't have an attitude, but it's so hard to, because I don't want to say.
Oh, of course not. No, of course not.
It's more of just like lying.
Oh,
Manipulating.
Oh, come sit next to me. I got all kind of lying. I was a professional liar and then gave birth to a professional liar.
Oh, shit.
I know all about that shit.
Yeah.
So I read this great book called Untangled, and it was written by a psychologist who worked in an all-girls school in Chicago, I think maybe, or somewhere in Ohio. It was so helpful because I read it right before when our girls were in middle school. So we're just starting teenagers. And the lying, she talks about lying in that book. So what lying is multiple things, but they're testing. They want the boundary that they're lying about.
Right.
They want you to hold the boundary, but they also, what they're doing at the core is trying to be their own person, and they're angry because they're not really able to be. So the lying is about that struggle of like there's a saying that goes, I hate you, now can you drive me and Peggy to the mall?
Right.
Like that's how every teenage girl feels. It's like, I hate you, I'm going to cuss you out, now can you do something for me because I can't do it for myself.
Right.
So they lie to try and keep some autonomy. So what she recommended in that book is to give them places where they could have absolute control. Like we gave our girls their rooms. I think there's probably rattlesnakes living in my daughter Isla's room. It is the most disgusting. It's an episode of Hoarders.
No,
it is
it's so bad.
There's probably cockroaches in there. You could put a saddle on and ride around.
I get it. Yep, that's how our kid is.
But that's what we decided, and we said that to her, right?
Yeah.
This is your domain. You can't damage the property. You can't, do anything that will is dangerous in your room. There's no drugs, no alcohol, all those
absolutely
basic rules. But other than that, if the clothing on the floor rots and disintegrates into the floor, it's your room. That's
I like that.
Your autonomy, right? That's where you get to just do whatever you want.
So you guys don't make them clean their room or be on a schedule or anything like that?
I had one caveat. I said, I get to ask you to clean your room like twice a year. Like Christmas.
Nice.
You need to clean it all out because you're about to get a bunch of gifts and all this family's coming into town. So before Christmas, you got to clean it up, like totally, like the way I want it. And then I get one other time. Like if I go in there one time and I'm like, okay, seriously, you're going to get hurt. Like I'm done. And so that's it. I get 2 times a year. I get to ask, no questions asked from her, to clean her room.
Okay.
Now, I'm not saying that works smoothly or easily or with a lot of effort. There's a lot of fight to get her to clean the room, but I keep going back to that's our deal.
Right.
You get the room if I get the clean room twice a year.
Your word is bond.
Exactly. And then the other piece she talked about with lying is some of the lying is actually healthy because it is them testing their own boundaries. How much will they lie? How much will they compromise their ethics in themselves to figure out where their own ethical line is? So you have to decide which lies are deal breakers for you and which you're just going to kind of like go, I don't really see that. And what I did with our kids is I explained this whole concept to them. I said, hey, I know you're going to lie. I lie like a rug at your age. I get it. But here's the ones that are really bad. If you're going somewhere, I need to know where you're going. Not because I'm nosy, but because we live in a place where there could be a massive earthquake and I would have no idea where you are.
Yeah.
So you can't tell me you're going to Long Beach and end up in Woodland Hills.
Right.
Now I don't know where you are. That's a lie. That's a deal breaker for me. So that's one. You can't lie to me about stuff going on at school with your academics. You just tell me what's going on. Even if you're failing, that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't lie to me about that, right?
Yes.
I know you're going to drink. I drank. I know you're going to smoke weed.
Do you let them drink in your own house?
No,
with their
ma'am, we
friends?
do not.
Okay.
And I explained that to them. I explained to them, in our house, it is illegal to drink until you're 21. So you don't drink in my house till you're 21. I'm not stupid. I
Right.
know that you're drinking. And you probably sneak it in my house. If I catch you, you're going to be in fucking trouble.
Right.
But I'm not stupid. I know this is what is going on. Same with the lying.
Right.
I know you're lying to me sometimes. Here's the deal breakers, and I may come up with another deal breaker I don't even know about. Like if you do something that I go, okay, hold on, that's too much.
Yeah.
I can't lay out every rule.
Right.
That's
Absolutely.
unrealistic. But I just explained it to them in a situation when they weren't in trouble. Like, hey, I need to have a talk with you. I see this is happening, a lot. So let's just lay down some ground rules when you're not in trouble or we're not having this issue so that the next time this happens, we've already talked about it. So that's what I did with both girls. And they still did it. But at least I felt like once they'd crossed a line, it was something that was already discussed and already understood.
Yeah.
So it was a little less dramatic in the moment instead of them being like, how could you ground me for that? Well,
Right.
I already told you I'd ground you for that. This is not a big surprise.
Yep.
I ran all over my daddy. He had no idea what I was doing.
Yeah.
So I had no parenting with that. I would tell him whatever I need to tell him to get what I wanted. And I didn't want that for my kids. I wanted them to be able to have bad behavior and get in trouble for it, and because that's the way life works.
Right.
And then have bad behavior and get away with it.
Yeah.
We
do something like that too. We have a home plan that we have worked out with Bailey, and just kind of like exactly what you say, school is an absolute deal breaker. If, always communicate with us. If you need a tutor or if you, are not doing good in school, let us know before anybody else can let us know so that we can, one, help you, and two, figure out a plan. And we do the same exact thing. So I love that.
That's good.
It makes me feel good that we're actually doing something right. So
well, you think about it. I think about this for myself. I was a disaster. A disaster.
Same.
For a long time. And I turned out really good. I'm happy with myself.
You are amazing.
I'm not perfect.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. But I am happy with myself. And that's all I want for my kids. So if they have these moments of bad behavior and, bullshit, they're going to be fine.
You became the mom that you never had.
Correct.
And that's a beautiful thing.
You are 100% correct. I relate to you in talking about how you deal with your daughter because it does heal you. If you allow it to, you can be the parent you never got.
Oh, yeah.
And it's sad sometimes. It makes me really sad sometimes where I go, that's a bummer I didn't get this, like you were talking about with your mom.
Yeah.
But it's also a blessing that you're able to do that for someone else.
Absolutely. But I feel like we chose our paths before we came here.
Agree.
And I totally 100% feel like this is something that our souls yearned for. So we're just fulfilling what we desired before we even came here on earth.
Totally agree. I saw this woman who was a medium who said that to me. She said, you picked your mom because you wanted to be done and you're done. So you don't need to do anything else with that soul.
That gave me goosebumps.
That you're done with her. So just relax and enjoy your life. And I was like, wow.
That's mind blowing. Yeah.
It was pretty crazy.
I love that though.
Yeah. She didn't know anything. I didn't ask her a question. She knew my first name and that's all she knew. And the first thing she said to me was that you're done with her. Don't worry about it.
It's like, that's how it is at my house whenever we're doing something. We could be like filming and Jay will be just hobnobbing around. You don't even know what he's doing down there. He's just down there doing weird shit.
Was that him?
Yeah. No, I think that was Bert. But I was like, that's how Jay is. Like
Same.
literally.
Again, married to Bert.
Yeah.
So what have you not done yet that you want to do?
What have I not done? Like on our 5-year plan that we made, or just kind of in general in life. I mean, I started my podcast, the Dumb Blonde podcast, in 2016, 18. Why do I always think it was the 16th? Yeah, or 16 in 2018. And it has grown to levels that I never thought possible, dude. I mean, we're getting like close to 2 million downloads a month.
Amazing.
Like, I mean, it's insane. I'm making 6 figures a month off of it. And I don't say that to brag. I say that because I can't fucking believe it.
Right.
You know, like off of like I'm used to having to take my clothes off to make a living. And I'm making that much money with my clothes on is just so insane. I was able to retire from being an internet hoe this year because of the podcast, you know? And it's like,
wait a minute. I don't know anything about you being an internet hoe. What does that mean?
All right. Well, let me teach you, LeeAnn. So I got into the adult industry at a very young age. Probably, I tried when I was 18, farted on somebody and left because I was humiliated and just couldn't do it.
Are you talking about porn?
No. Well, I mean, no, I didn't do porn. I was stripper.
Okay.
Yes.
And you farted on somebody? I love you so much because I would have farted all over everybody.
I was so nervous. I had bubble guts. It was the worst thing in the world. So I'm 18. My friends, everybody in Vegas. I grew up in a different lifestyle. When you grow up in Vegas and sometimes, you know, out here in LA too, it's just everything is sex, drugs, and rock and roll, period. Like, and that's how Vegas is. So when you grow up in Vegas, girls don't say, oh, I want to grow up and be a doctor. They say, I want to grow up and be a stripper. You know, that's just how it happens.
Right.
So 18, all my friends are dancing. I'm, you know, still just trying to figure out life. And they took me to Cheetahs, which is so gross. Now, do you know Cheetahs?
Oh, yeah, I've been to Cheetahs.
Okay.
Yeah.
They took me to Cheetahs and they just put me in this outfit, my girlfriends, and they'd throw me out on the floor. And I'm just like, I'm like a deer in headlights, just like, what is happening? Like, where am I? And, you know, I grew up my dad went from being a musician to a straight Bible thumper.
Wow.
So it was like, you can't listen to secular music, even though I grew up on nothing but rock and roll and watching my dad's band play. Like, it was
crazy.
I think it's because he had an affair and then my stepmom made him become like that person or they were going to split. So, you know, so I had all this religious trauma too that I was dealing with. And I was just like, oh my God, this isn't right. And, you know, I'm going to go to hell. And they throw me in this bachelor party. There's like 5 dudes sitting around. And I'm like, okay, I'm not a bitch. I'm going to do this, right? So I get in the middle of them. My stomach hurts so bad. I'm talking like, and I'm like, okay, I'm just going to let out a silent one. Nobody will know, right?
Oh
so I'm
my God.
giving this lap dance. I let it out. And I'm telling you, it was one of those farts that like, I call them fluffs. It was one of those fluffs that flattens your stomach, you know, like instantly where you just feel so much relief.
Yeah.
And it smelled like something died. These dudes, the dude I was dancing for jumps up, looks at his friend across the way and goes, you're fucking nasty.
Oh my God.
And they all start blaming each other because it smelled so bad. So I didn't even get my money. I just literally ran out of there and was just like, I'm never dancing again, ever in my entire life. Lies. I went back when I was 21. So I started dancing. I danced for about 11 years and then I got into high-end escorting because, you know, after so long, you get to a point where it's like, you don't want to do the hustle and bustle of the club. You don't want to go to work at 11 o'clock at night and stay at 6 o'clock in the morning for $1,000 when you can literally go and make, you know, 1,000 and more in 15 minutes.
Right.
So, you know, I got into high-end escorting and I was making a lot of fucking money, dude. It was insane. Even when I met Jay knew what I was doing. I've always been honest about it.
Right.
I've never lied. I've always been like, you know, this is part of my life and this is how I make my money and you're not going to be able to take that away from me. And it's not because I did it because I enjoyed being with men. It was because I enjoyed the freedom of all the money that I made and I was independent and nobody could ever take my house from me or, you know, my cars or anything.
So let me ask you this, because I'm super naive. Escorting is what?
So escorting is men pay you for sex, technically.
I thought so. So let me tell you what I think about that.
Yeah.
I think that's fucking awesome. You know why? Because sex is amazing and so much fun.
Yeah.
And it is part of being a human being.
Absolutely.
It is not, I think it is so stupid how taboo society has made sex.
Yeah.
And
how shameful.
It's shameful. It's so stupid. It's an amazing and very fun and free part of life.
I agree.
And I don't like that there's a huge stigma for women who choose to do something like that for a living.
What I don't like is how they think that a woman cannot be a sex worker and also be super smart and a businesswoman.
So stupid.
Like that's what I don't like. Some of the best women I've met in the world, some of the best moms, some of the best wives, just some of the best women who have gone to college because of what they've done, were in the sex industry, you know? And I think that's where I've always been frustrated with the scarlet letter of being a sex worker, because it's like, that doesn't define us. Like, yes, we're literally, a lot of the women in the industry are raised on survival, and we're doing it because, we have to. Everybody's like, oh, you took the easy way out. That's not the fucking easy way, dude.
No, it's not.
And I've tried to preach that to people, and I don't ever want to glamorize sex work, because heaven forbid, Bailey ever came to me and was like, hey, I want to be a sex worker. I'd be like, absolutely fucking not. And, a lot of people would think that would be, hypocritical. Yeah. But at the same time, it's like, I know what I went through and how strong I had to be in that industry. And I would never want our little girl to ever feel like it's something cool or something she would ever have to do,
Totally. But it is an avenue.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of, I think what people in our country don't understand is that there are times in some people's life, I can't relate to someone who grew up in like extreme poverty.
Yeah.
We were not wealthy. We were definitely blue collar. And my dad totally always was like, I don't know how we're going to make it this month. But I never didn't have a place to live.
Right.
I was never hungry. I always had something to wear.
Yeah.
And I know even Miss Pat, she's a comedian. She wrote her memoir is about, she was selling crack because she had 2 babies and she couldn't make it work on welfare.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand that world until I read her memoir and went, oh my God, totally. I understand. Now listen, I don't want anybody to be smoking crack. Ever.
Right.
I don't want anybody to do drugs.
Don't be a crackhead, please.
I don't like that.
Right.
But that's not what I'm saying is okay.
Right.
What I'm saying is okay is a mother who was trying to survive with her 2 young children did what she felt she had to do to keep her kids fed and with a roof overhead, because her opportunities were really limited.
Absolutely.
And so if you look at someone's perspective from the inside instead of the outside, then that's where you can really have compassion and understanding for choices people make, especially if you did exactly what you did, it sounds like to me, is you made a choice and chose to be empowered by that choice.
Absolutely. I was sexually abused as a kid too. So I think my hatred for men was like, okay, I get to decide when you touch me. I'm going to charge you to touch me. And that was kind of me taking my power back.
How fascinating is that?
I love you. I wish more people had your view on that. And I always say to go off of what you were just saying, I always tell everybody, what's tea for someone is testimony for you. Like everybody has their own path that they've chosen, or some of us didn't choose that path. We just, had to do what we had to do to survive. And, yes, could I have gotten a regular job? I worked a regular job while I was a stripper. I did real estate. I was a senior loan processor. And I did that for a really long time, probably 2 or 3 years. And it was exhausting. I was burning the candle at both ends because I was trying to have a moral compass of like, oh my gosh, I don't want to go to hell, but I don't want to only rely on stripper money. I need to go to this job where I'm making $200 a week to try to get through to, it was just, none of it worked out, And so to answer your question about being the internet hoe is, I was doing escort work, and then OnlyFans came into the picture probably about 2021 or 2020. Yeah, 2020 when COVID hit. And I went to Jay and I was like, babe, I was just one of those moments where I was like, babe, I'm going to try this out. And if it goes, I'm going to stop accepting clients. And he was like, go, baby, go. Like, that's one thing I love about my husband is he's never tried to change me.
Right.
He's always let me be independent.
Right.
He knows I never want to be known as Jelly Roll's wife.
Right.
And I told him this whenever we first got together. I was like, I love you and I know you have a dream and I'm going to support you, but I'm also going to do my own thing because I never want people, 1, to think I'm a gold digger, or 2, I'm not that type of woman. Like, right. I understand, like, women want to be housewives and stuff like that. Fucking more power to you. I wish I could be just a housewife, but I can't. My trauma won't let me. I have to fucking, I have to be big dog on my own. My trauma won't let me. So we did the OnlyFans and it fucking went, LeeAnn. I'm talking like I made my first $1 million. It was like, I had already made probably close to $1 million on my own in the industry, 1 or 2 million. But this was like, I made my first $1 million online on OnlyFans, and I was like, I am never going back, baby.
Right?
So I stopped seeing clients, and Jay he was more than happy. Jay even did the OnlyFans with me for a while. We would make videos together and everything. And that's when I married a rapper, LeeAnn. And then he decided to become a country music star. And I was like, I don't want to be the only country music wife whose butthole is on the internet.
That's amazing.
He never asked me to shut my OnlyFans down.
Right.
Never, ever, just whatever you want to do, baby, whatever makes you comfortable. And I just told him, I said, you know what? I love you. And my podcast is making enough money now to where the ads because for the longest time, this is my hyper independence. I was like, I'm never putting ads on my podcast. I'm not doing this. I'm doing it all on my own. And then finally my manager was like, bitch, come on. Like,
right?
let's fucking, you can make your OnlyFans money back if you just let us put some ads on the podcast. So I was like, okay. So I retired because I just didn't want him, to have to always live in that, or, people being like, oh, Jelly's married to a porn star, because a lot of people in the country music realm don't understand the fans, not the actual people. They have been amazing to us.
Right.
But country music fans are wild. They say the craziest shit. And I just didn't want him to have to deal with that. He's already fighting a battle because he's a bigger guy. He's tattooed. He was a rapper. So it's like, I didn't want to add to it.
Right.
So I retired my OnlyFans in March of 2023. And now I'm just strictly doing the podcast and all that stuff. But yeah, that was my whole online hoe thing.
Got it. That's cool though.
Yeah.
I think it's great that you wanted to have your own thing and
Yeah.
have to have your own. You're a hustler.
Yeah, literally. It's
You
in my
are.
blood. I can't sit still.
Totally.
Come here, sir.
I get it.
I'm sorry.
He's so funny.
He's just wandering around. Come here. Come on.
Oh, geez.
Come on.
He's so handsome though.
I just don't know how to, is my hair all messed up? Oh, here we go. Is it better now? Okay. I don't know how to sit still, and I just always have to. I'm a goal digger. Like, I just always have to have a goal and something I'm working towards,
That's awesome.
even if it's to the point of exhaustion.
So did you answer the question I asked? What was the thing you haven't done yet that you want to do?
Nope. I probably danced around it and answered 5 other ones.
Okay.
So when I first started this podcast thing, I always called myself the female Howard Stern, because I love Howard. I know a lot of people don't. I love the old Howard.
Right.
The E channel Howard.
Right.
The new Howard, I haven't really listened to him. So it's nothing political, people. I just literally loved the old Howard. But now it's like, I kind of want to do, Chelsea Handler has always been I love her to pieces. She's the best woman that we've ever dealt with. She's just amazing. So supportive of our family. And, she's helped our family tremendously. But even before that, I've always looked up to her because she had her Chelsea Lately show and stuff like that. I've always wanted my own like nighttime talk show. And I feel like it's such a male dominated industry. And I want to change that. And everybody told me, they're like, you're not going to be able to make money with a podcast. You're not going to be able to do this. And I've done everything that people have told me I couldn't do.
Right.
And now they're telling me I can't have my own show. So now I want it.
I love it.
I'm coming for you.
How do you get
Late
it?
night talk show. I don't know. Whose dick do I got to suck around here?
Right?
No, I'm
Come
just
on.
kidding.
Line them up.
I'm kidding.
I mean, you need to have a summit about it.
Yeah, let's have a summit.
How
Put
do
the flag in the fucking ground.
how do
Let's
we-
go, baby.
We got to figure it out. I think that would be amazing. You'd
Yeah,
be
that'd
great at
fun.
it.
Oh, I appreciate you.
You're
You'd be
super-
my first guest. I
Oh,
would love to
come
have you.
on.
I swear to
would
God.
not.
Yes, you would.
You have someone super awesome and famous. I don't know, like
You're super
my
awesome.
husband, maybe?
No. See, I'm a girl's girl. I even told them on the way here, I was like, they're like, I'm so excited to meet Bert, because they love the machine.
Of course.
And I'm like, I'm more excited to meet LeeAnn.
Aw.
Like, for real. Like,
Well,
the
same.
woman behind the man means so much to me, because I know what you guys have to do and what it takes to fucking be a wife of somebody who's just out there all the time,
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
You do definitely know what that's like. It's crazy, isn't it? Crazy
Yeah.
world
No, it's insane.
that you live in. What's the hardest part about being in that world?
I have learned
Yeah.
this year to stop reading fucking comments,
please,
on the internet.
Yeah.
I just learned this lesson 2 weeks ago.
How come? What was the breaking point?
You know, it gets to a point where I want to beat up everybody that fucking has something to say. And it's like, keep that same energy in person. Right. You know, like you're saying shit that you would never say to somebody. Mm-hmm. And my husband knows how I am. Cause like you said, you're a fighter. I am a fighter, like to the core. I want to, every dog that barks, I want to throw a rock at it, you know? And my husband and I finally went to lunch the other day. And he's like, what's going on? Cause he could tell I was really upset. And I mean, I was getting attacked online for like a drug for like 2 weeks for no reason. I mean, just people literally just hate on people and just like they go on these brigades, especially on TikTok. And I was just like, I am tired of feeling like this. And he goes, Bunnie, I live in the real world. He goes, and you want to know what happens in the real world? Everybody loves us. He goes, you live in the online world. And I'm like, but that's how I built my brand. He goes, no, baby. He said, you built your brand being yourself. Mm. He's like, you have to stop allowing people to disturb your peace. Mm. And for some reason, he's told me that before, but I was just like, it really clicked because I think I was ready to receive it finally. Mm-hmm. And I said, you know what? You're right. He said, post and ghost. And I was like, cool. And I've done that ever since. Like I'll reply to like maybe 5 comments or like 5 comments. And after that, I don't give a fuck what people have to say anymore.
Good.
Because it's so toxic online and so harmful for anybody's mental health. And I just, I'm always trying to stand up for people and like fight the bullies. Mm-hmm. And there's too many of them now.
Well, and it's really the way I look at it when I'm lucky. I don't get a lot of negative comments on my podcast, but Bert does. Mm. And when I look at it, I just go, that's someone who's so unhappy. Mm. And I feel really bad for that person.
Yeah.
Not like, oh, you poor person. But no, I genuinely feel really bad. If someone feels their life has so little purpose that they have to go online and tear someone down who does no harm to anybody, then that's somebody who's really off in a ditch and real sad.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
that makes me feel really sad.
Yeah, for sure.
So I don't read comments because of that. Every time there's some ridiculous comment, I just think it's hysterical because I go, you don't freaking know anything.
Yeah,
you don't know anything about
the
me.
The shit they come up with is wild.
Insane.
I think I read one today that said somebody said, Jelly and Bunnie don't believe in God. I'm like, I'm like, Jesus is my homie. Like, what are you talking about? I'm like, this is crazy.
And who cares?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Is that what you're going to spend your time on?
Yeah.
Who cares?
I love it. Yeah.
I mean, that's the stupidest statement ever because if you listen to any of Jelly Roll's songs,
it's all about God.
It's 100%.
Literally. Yeah.
It's all spirituality.
Yeah.
Oh, that person's just.
Yeah, for sure. But it's just like I said, just learning to not, to just not read comments, not react anymore. So that's been my biggest learning lesson this year with everything.
That's a good one. Yeah. I just heard someone say recently, you don't get to negotiate how I feel about me.
Oh, that's powerful.
I negotiate how I feel about me. You don't get to do that. And I was like, oh, that's a really good statement.
I love that.
Right?
That is powerful. That's beautiful. I love it. I'm stealing it.
You can have it. Do you like Nashville?
I love Nashville now. It took me so long coming out of Vegas, to Nashville. I was like, what the fuck is this? Everybody's a fucking hillbilly. What is happening? But no, I love it now. Like I'll go to Vegas and before, like I have a 2-week mark and even like now, like 7 days, I'm like, I want to go home, because Nashville has become my safe space and just like, it's green and it's home, and it's just people like us who didn't really have a home. It's a beautiful thing to be able to say like that's home, whereas I never thought I would ever leave Vegas.
No.
So yeah, ever. And I've been gone, almost 8 years now. So
wow. What's your favorite part of Vegas?
Probably the food. So
tell me about it.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
They don't have that kind of food in Nashville, but it's okay. I cook like I'm supposed to when I'm at home. So, but we go to Vegas and all we do is just hit the local spots that we love. Like I eat bad for like a week while I'm out there and I just love the food. So
what's your favorite local spot in Vegas?
Well, there's two. There's Tacos El Gordo, which
Okay.
we love. Shout out Tacos El Gordo. We love you guys. They have the best tacos ever. And then we also go and we eat at what they have is like the oyster bars out there at the casinos because I fucking love seafood.
Yeah.
And so we'll go and just mow down on a bunch of like crab and shrimp, and we just go out there and just eat at the seafood places. So,
That's awesome.
yeah. Do you like seafood?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
I don't like salmon. Other than that, I'm good. I don't know why.
I like
Salmon's not my
salmon
thing.
if it's not fishy.
Yeah,
Like,
same.
Yeah, like sometimes you'll get a salmon and it's like, what the fuck happened?
Yes.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
awful. It's like you opened a can of salmon.
Oh,
Ugh.
yeah, that's
Did
the
you grow up
worst.
eating that shit? I did. Oh my God.
No,
Yeah,
no,
you don't
I
want
can't. Tuna fish, but not
Oh, I ate
canned salmon.
It was pretty rough.
Oof,
It's nasty.
that is. I didn't even know that was a thing.
It smells pretty bad.
Oof.
So, okay. Do you guys vacation?
We do. We actually went to Dominican Republic in January. Not as often as because right now Jay's in the thick of it.
Yep.
So,
Which is so exciting, by the way.
yeah, no, I'm so proud of him,
Yeah.
LeeAnn. Like, that man deserves everything that's coming his way
Mm-hmm.
because he literally has righted a word. He has righted all of his wrongs. And is that a word? Am I using the proper?
We'll use it.
Yeah, he's righted all of his wrongs, and he just deserves. You know, he's put out so much love into the universe, and it's finally coming back to him, and it is the most beautiful thing to witness.
Aw.
So yeah, what was the question? Because before I went off,
Do you
on,
vacation?
Oh, do we vacation?
went to
Yeah.
Dominican
So we
Republic?
went to Dominican Republic in January, and it was amazing. We had this huge house out there, and like it was right on the ocean, and we just went out there for a few days. It was beautiful, and that was the last vacation we had. And I think we're gonna try to go again, not to there, but on a vacation sometime next year. So
That's
if he could get some time off.
Oh, is he touring a lot?
We haven't got the tour schedule yet for next year, but I know January is insane. Like, I don't think we're even going to be in the same, like, it's going to be nuts. We're not going to be home for probably more than like a week in January.
So what do you do when you're separated like that for a long time? How do you feel? How do you stay connected?
So we have a 2-week rule. We don't go more than 2 weeks without seeing each other. But I'm always with him on tour. This tour, I took, a lot of people were offended, but I took out my own tour bus, and that was for good reason. Because one, I'm not going to ride on a bus with my husband and 11 other
Wait,
dudes.
who had a problem with that?
There's a lot of people who were offended by it.
Okay, they have never lived on a
They were
tour
like-
bus.
They were like, why does she need her own bus? First of all, I funded it myself. My
Yeah.
husband did not.
Yeah.
And secondly, I am complete opposite of my husband. I am very scheduled. I want to wake up, eat breakfast, hang out with my crew. Like we're the girl gang, you know? So I took out my own bus with him. And then I try my hardest to go to as many dates with him as possible, but his schedule is so grueling now that it's like I kind of have to pick and choose runs.
Mm-hmm.
So I know in January I'll be with him at everything because we're doing Hawaii, Paris, and Cancun, Mexico.
Amazing.
And then, February, I think we have some time off, which I'm going to be writing a book. So I'm getting with my writer.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, before we go to that,
Yeah.
I did not ride on Bert's tour bus.
Yeah.
I rode on the girls' bus.
Good.
So I'm with you.
Okay,
But you're writing a book?
Yeah. So WME William Morris agency signed me the beginning of this year, right? I'm so bad with years.
Oh, right.
I never know. So William Morris signed me, and my agent Sloan is a fucking shark. I love her to death. Shout out Sloan for everything you do for me. And she was just like, I love you. I love your story. You need to write a book. So we have been courting writers, and I think we finally found one that I'm going to settle down with, and I'm going to write. And then, because I don't ever really talk about my life. Like, you'll hear me talk about bits and pieces of it, but nobody really knows my entire story.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to put it in book form, and everybody will get to read it.
That is so exciting.
I know. I'm excited.
I am so happy for you.
Thank you. Why
That's
haven't
great.
you written a book?
I don't know. I
You
don't have time.
should.
I'm too busy. Running this company we have and 2 kids. you
I
know?
get it.
I
But
was
you have so much wisdom to share. I really
Aw.
think you could.
Well, I've been thinking about it lately. You know, I was a writer before I met Bert. I wrote screenplays.
Wow. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I wrote screenplays. I had 1 movie that was made, had 4 that were optioned in Hollywood, and then I had 3 other screenplays. I'd written 8 total.
Yeah.
But then when I got pregnant with Georgia and, when you become a mom, Bert started touring when Georgia was 3 days old. I was like, I'm not going to be that mom
Right.
that's like, we couldn't afford a nanny. We couldn't afford
No, I
anything.
get
So there was
it.
no space for me to write. So I had to choose to either be resentful because I couldn't write or be a present parent and wife and be supportive to this career and be Bert's creative partner. And I chose that. And I'm super happy that I did.
I love that.
So
your mind is beautiful.
Oh,
Because there's so many opportunities that you could have looked at things negatively, and you really just have made such a beautiful space
life's too
for your
short.
family and for you.
Thank you. I would not have changed one thing.
That's how I
I
feel.
love my children. I think we have beautiful, generous, kind, unique human beings that we raised as real parents. I worked a 40-hour-a-week job. Part of it was from home. And I only had a nanny when I wasn't physically at home. And Bert was the nanny Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays until Georgia was 6 and Isla was 4.
I can't believe he could hold down that responsibility.
It was really hard. It was a lot. But we are real parents. No one raised our kids. We don't have nannies. We never have had nannies except for that little pocket of time when I had to work.
Same. That's what we're doing with Bailey. We're so hands-on with her. And the only time when we aren't there, our niece, who is older, Kayla, holds it down for us. But yeah, we've never just brought in a nanny. Like, that's just weird.
It is the most fulfilling thing in your life, in my life. And now Isla is a senior in high school. So
Didn't one of them just get accepted in like every college they applied
Isla
for?
did.
Like,
Yeah.
hello,
That
that
was
speaks
crazy.
volumes for you guys.
And can I tell you something? She's a C student. She is
That's
not
amazing,
an A student.
though.
And
Oh God,
all
there is
this-
hope for Bailey. No,
There
I'm
is
just
hope
kidding.
for everybody. Because you know what? This environment of like, oh my God, you don't have 18 AP classes and 45 extracurriculars. That is not my kid. My kid she's been a Girl Scout for 13 years. Other than that, she's flopped all over the place and she's a C student.
Yeah.
She got into every college she applied to. If you are realistic about who you are and apply to those places, they want you to go there. So you just have to know who you are.
Yeah.
It's a real lesson for Isla to see herself realistically, right? Not to say, yeah, I'm going to go to Harvard.
Right.
You know, why? What you want to do for a living doesn't even need Harvard.
Right.
She wants to be an interior designer. You would never make those choices.
Yeah.
So I'm so proud of her for
I'm proud of her
knowing
too.
herself, right? And
Well, she gets that from you.
she gets it from both of us. Bert definitely knows himself.
Yeah.
And I've always known myself. I don't
Yeah.
know why or how I was born with that gift, but I've always known my own mind. So yeah, I wouldn't change anything about my path at all. And I think I do have a book in me somewhere.
You do.
I've just been living in present time so much that I just want to stay in present time until both kids are up and out, you know?
Yeah. I
So I've got,
understand that.
this is our last year with Isla and then she'll be up and out.
That's amazing. That's the best gift you could have given those kids, is just your attention and your time.
It is. I would have loved it. When I showed up at my dad's, he was that way exactly. I was all that existed.
Thank goodness for Dad.
Yes. But you know, it's easy to do that 3 months out of the year.
Right.
You know,
Fun Dad.
it's a great dad. You know,
Yeah.
that would be easy for almost any parent. It's like 3 months of the year, I am the best parent on the earth. And
Right.
the other 9 months, I get to party my ass off. You know,
Right.
and be a bachelor. It's kind of a no-brainer. But
Did he ever settle down and get married?
He did. He remarried. And this is something I actually would like to say to you. The importance of a step parent is so unparalleled. A step parent who loves you and who signs up for all of it. As a child that had a stepmother who signed up for all of it, that love is a chosen love. And it's not the same as the parent that gave birth to you or that made you happen. It is very special. And in some ways, it's more important than your actual parents because they're choosing you every day.
Yeah, are you trying to
I'm
make me
gonna
cry,
cry.
LeeAnn?
I'm going to cry.
Are you trying to make me cry? 'Cause
I'm gonna
I'm
cry.
getting emotional over here.
Because my dad's second wife chose me every day. And I remember days going like, I don't know why she's choosing me. I mean, she must be making a mistake. But they divorced when I was 21. but she's still there. My kids call her Grand Jan, and I love her. And she's another reason why I am who I am today. My dad and her, they didn't marry until I was about 17, but they were together from age 8 to 21. So every birthday party, every prom, everything. She was there for everything. And being chosen every day is a very different love.
Thank you. I appreciate that so much. I just want her to be the best that she can be, you know, like she deserves that. So
she does. And so do you. And if she doesn't know it today, because you don't know much when you're 15 or 17, more than just, you know, what you want, she'll know it because you're such a pure soul.
I appreciate it. You want to make out?
I mean, we might.
Okay, let's do that. Let's do that because I don't want to cry.
You don't even have to give me flowers.
Let's do. I'm telling Bert I earned it.
You totally earned it.
I would rather not cry. I'd rather make out than cry. So.
Is that your distraction?
Yeah,
I'm gonna cry. Let's make
humor,
out.
Humor. It's always
right?
Push it away.
Same here.
No.
Well, I'm so glad I'm so glad I don't. Meet you sounds lame.
Yeah.
But I'm so glad we finally got to
hang out.
Yeah. Because I'm telling you, the first time I met Jelly Roll, he was like, you've got to meet my wife. The two of you would be good friends.
He told me that too. He's like, you're just like LeeAnn. I was like, really? That's crazy. Let's do it. You know, I was so excited.
He told me the same thing and Bert told me the same thing about you. So I'm so glad it finally happened.
Yay. Thank you for having me on. Like,
God.
I really appreciate you. And just even hearing your story too, like, I'm just so happy that we, you know, have all collided together in this lifetime.
I agree. Yeah. I look forward to many more visits.
I can't wait
with you.
Yes, and I need to get you on my podcast.
Guys,
come on. We're just wrapping it up.
I know, but I heard that there was going to be crying, and I think you should definitely make out. Like, if you're going to do anything, close this episode by making out. I'm just walking
Bert, I'm coming to turn her out, baby.
He's the best dog ever.
I love it.
Anyway, thank you so much for doing this, Bunnie.
Thank you for having me.
I hope I
really
see you
appreciate
again soon.
Oh, you will for sure. And I'm going to get you on my podcast.
Okay, I'll do it.
All right, let's do it.
Okay.
Thank you.